This is IA Forward, your playbook for success as an independent insurance agent. Now, here to help you knock it out of the ballpark are your hosts, Shane Tatum, Tanya Lead, Mike Basil, and Robbie Jabor.
Welcome to IA Forward, episode number 2 with all the boys.
Permanent guest. Is that what we're calling them? We're calling them permanent guest. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're kicking you off when we have a real guest. Y'all know that, right?
I had a feeling.
Yeah. Like you only get to show up when we have nobody else.
When you tell us to show up.
Yeah. Like it's like, it's.
That hurts me.
Does it?
So I already hurt his feelings yesterday because I was putting together new show graphics.
Okay.
And Mike, not being from the South, does not have the natural glow that we do in our pictures. So I went in and I made him more tan.
You touch him up.
It's
I
the cold.
did. I freshened him a little bit. I made him more tan.
That
So she's-
picture was from January of last year.
She's saying you're pasty.
yeah, no, I paled down. There's no doubt about that. We go several days in a row without the sun.
Seasonal depression.
That's right.
Seasonal depression is real. And I do understand that. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't.
I
You'd also
wonder.
don't. That's why you spend so much time in Orlando. Right?
That's
Isn't that it? I think we should go to Disney.
No, I can't go there with you.
No.
So we have an insurance agency that is near the house that is an independent agent. And I was driving by and they have one of these big digital signs out in front of their agency. And I noticed in these big green letters, it said, "Please welcome our new AI assistant." On their sign. This is what they're advertising. And I'm like, well, why is this something like, is this supposed to excite a customer? And it made me think like, that's like bragging that you've replaced a CSR with a Roomba. I mean, that doesn't even make sense that you would tell your customers to welcome the new AI assistant.
Yeah. The robot lawnmowers have my attention. They really do. But like outside of that, like nothing else. Nothing else has my attention right now.
I mean, I like my Roomba, except for the fact that I have cords in my house and in my office and everywhere, and Roomba doesn't like
Hard for you to get
cords.
around.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I get it. But I mean, I don't even know how to respond to that. Like we can't wait for you to talk to our AI agent, our tool, right? Like what
Our
is
non-human.
our non-human?
Right.
Like
Welcome them, please.
please welcome our non-human. I mean,
And I have to admit, I turned around and made the block to look at it again just to make sure that I didn't read it wrong.
yeah. I mean, you kind of caught me off guard with the sign because I know we have a digital sign in one of our offices and those are not cheap. And I'm assuming since you said green, it's a full color
Yes.
digital
yes,
sign.
yes.
Like ours is the red. It's the single color.
Okay.
And it's still like a $20,000 sign.
Mhm.
Like it's ridiculous what those things are. And so when I'm thinking full color, that thing alone is 30 to 40,000. So they got 30 to $40,000 invested in their digital sign. And what we're going to use it for is promoting an AI agent instead of a human being. It's a new world that we live in.
Yeah.
I don't understand that world.
Insurance Journal did an article recently on a study, a JD Power study, and people just really don't like it.
Hmm.
I mean, carriers like it, agents
Sure.
like it,
Yeah.
but people don't.
I think there's time saving elements to it, especially on the back end for agents
Yeah.
that are certainly worth exploring. But your customer base is not excited to participate in AI and have that be their front line.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
They're worried about it replacing human interaction, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day. If they got a problem, they need to speak with someone. They want to talk to a human. They don't want to talk to a robot that says, press this, 1 for this, 2 for this, whatever. They want to get through to someone to have a conversation.
the JD Power study said that 68% of customers believe that AI only helps the carrier and it doesn't help them. And I just think it's going to start creating some trust erosion in a time where they've been in such a hard market that the trust is already eroded. This is just going to make it worse to me.
Yeah, it's a good place for agents is where I immediately go. If it's a carrier survey, if it's like, well, this is only going to help the big bad insurance company, well, then that's wedging a huge opportunity into the marketplace for agents to do what they do, what we do so well, specifically independent agents. I would say this is very specific to the independent agency system because the exclusive agency system generally relies on call center for support service, right? For the customers. I don't know. I can't talk to you about that. You got to call your claim in to the 1-800 number. I mean, the whole point of independent agency is advocacy. So trying to reconcile with the sign, right? Like it doesn't reconcile with the independent agency advocacy culture. The AI gurus are going to say, well, then you're going to die. Your agency is going to decrease. It's going to die if you don't embrace, AI tools. I kind of agree with that to the backside, right? Well, kind of like the customers are saying, like, well, yeah, AI is going to help us be more efficient. I think it will help us be more efficient. There's little things that management system platforms, CRMs, there's things that we are able to do with AI around coverage analysis. All of these things are really helpful to our people. We have not reached the point where we're unleashing an AI agent on the front line to the consumer to have conversations. Part of my reasoning for that is culture. The other reasoning is I've heard some experiences like we had a partner agent talk about spending, I forget the amount of time, but like 10 or 15 minutes on the phone with a prospective customer, proving they were not AI. Like, think about that for a minute.
Oh my God.
Like, they're trying to give this lead a quote, their proposal, and the customer, potential customer, is questioning them. Like, they're having to prove themselves out, like almost like answering a ridiculous amount of security questions that say,
CAPTCHA.
you are a human being. I mean, that was
Wow.
weird. Like, I've had that conversation with agents, like, hey, I had to prove that I was not an AI tool because I think people are genuinely upset when they feel duped. Like, I've been talking to AI and I didn't know it.
Right.
What does that make people feel like? Sure. Like, customer wise, that's where my brain went on that.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's it. I actually hadn't heard that story. That's a wild one.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't even heard that AI had gotten to the point where it could be used that,
Sophisticated.
yes, in
Oh,
such a
yes.
sophisticated
Oh, yes.
manner. Like, to me, if you're going to implement it in some sort of chat bot or some sort of chatting system where someone gets to your website and it says up front, this is a chat bot.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something very simple, it's going to answer the question for you. If not, it's going to reroute you to someone else. I don't love that, but it's probably as far as I'm willing to be taken right now with it. But anything beyond that is just, especially for an independent agent, right? Because isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? The exact thing that you're trying to get this robot to do for you. I mean, that is where you're adding value. And now you're taking that value and you're putting it somewhere else or trying to repurpose it. And I think you're spinning your wheels.
Unless that's the kind of agency you want. Now, some independent agents get so excited because they figured out all of the technology and they never have to actually speak to a customer. And those agencies exist, they're valid, they're profitable, but most of our Integra partner agents want that hands-on advisory type of agency. So I can see it if that's your goal. But
you're
I just
creating a niche.
right, you are creating a niche.
Yeah.
But don't you like how
It's
Settle
Yes, you got me then. That's it.
my niece isn't old enough. Could be anyway. I don't know what you mean. I'm glad to hear that our New Yorker used the term niche
instead of niche.
instead of niche.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just
did that because
impressed.
it's in the rain.
I did not.
But I think there's a trust gap there. I mean, I got duped a few months ago, and I'm having this in-depth conversation, and I couldn't figure out, like, the person I was talking to wasn't getting the problem. And it kind of seemed like they weren't really hearing what I was saying, but it took me about 3 minutes to figure out that this wasn't a person.
That's wild.
Right. And I mean, I know it's happened to me, and that created such a misunderstanding that I would rather do business with someone else than it wasted my time.
I think it's understanding your customer. And in my example of this, and I'd like to hear, your bougie Royal Caribbean story in a minute, but Mr. Set Sail over there. But get out of New York and go to
That's what we
the
do.
Bahamas, right?
That's what we're more
So, but generationally here, it's like my story, and I know this isn't AI, but I'm using this as a comparable. I found myself just of the last couple of years in getting blood work done. Had to go, before went to my annual checkup, sent me to the lab to get blood work. And the lab has removed the receptionist.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So I don't know if anybody's done this,
Yes.
but there's no longer none of these labs, blood work labs or whatever. So there's a kiosk. You got to check yourself in. Well, what's the average age of people going to get blood work done for their checkups? I brought the average age down
Right.
by a decade, right? And my story here was when I went in, I'm like fourth in line, and there's an older man. He's trying to figure this thing out. He can't figure it out. Me, combination of sticking my nose into people's business and just also trying to improve the efficiency here. Because this was my first time I went where there was no receptionist, right? And so I just kind of peeked around and noticed he was trouble. So I walked up and I'm like, you having trouble? Is there anything I can help you with? And he's like, this stupid thing, he's
Right.
the typical, and look, he's in his 80s. All right. He's in his 80s. And so I looked at it. I'm like, okay. I walked him through it. We got him checked in. The person behind him, of course, he was like, thank you so much. The person behind him, hey, could you stay here with me? Okay. So
Now you're the receptionist.
now I find myself in the receptionist. I check the next two people in. Now it's my turn. I turn around to go sit down, and like 6 people have gotten up out of the chairs and they're coming towards me because they hadn't figured out how to check in. They're just
They
sitting,
were just sitting there.
waiting on
Wow.
who knows what, right? And so I'm helping them check in, right? And so the lab companies, these, you don't know who your customer is.
Right.
Like, I get it. You're saving some money on a receptionist, right? But is that good money saved? Like, is that a really good saving, is to kill your customer experience to such a point that nobody ever wants to go, nobody wants to go do labs anyway, right? Like, that
right.
doesn't,
They're going to find traditional lab nearby, and they're going to start going.
they're going to figure that out.
That's
right?
right.
Somebody's going to lose some business.
Right.
Now, to Tanya's point, maybe they want it that way, right? So comparing this to the agent that's like, well, I'm going to do AI. I don't want to talk to customers. I'm going to set everything up where I never have to talk to a human being. Okay, maybe there is a niche for that. Maybe. But is that the customer experience? That I think that you just have to figure out what you want as an agent. And that's what's great about the independent agency system is the guy that wants to set things up in this super hyper automated AI environment can. And the guys who don't want to do that don't have to. But I think that's where this comes from. Like, hey, you guys out there listening, like, if you don't want to do this, like, it's okay.
Mhm.
Like, your agency's not going to die. Like, you're not going to go bankrupt because you didn't adopt the new AI phone agent.
Yeah. But I think you have to be nimble, right? You have to be able to adapt. So it's fine to have that AI tool, but you should have it designed in a way where only the people who want to use that will use it. And anyone who doesn't has a very easy alternative
Sure.
to not having to use that if they are against that.
So my car insurance in Florida had gotten crazy stupid. I mean, just next level crazy stupid. And
Well, it's we know you're driving.
well, I let you drive today.
Yeah,
That was why. So there were no discussions about
I had
it.
to say.
But, I was here in the office in person. I went to my fabulous agent, Miss Amy, and I said, hey, look, like we have 2 cars. Why is my car insurance $600 a month? This is just right. Like it's $600 a month. It's like $598.72 or something for 2 vehicles, and one of them's liability only. Like there's something.
They have
wrong
Daniel rated
here.
as a teenager.
Yeah, apparently. So she goes, I didn't even realize it. I'm like, is there any way that we can maybe shop this a little bit and see if I can actually afford to eat and have car insurance? And because we were to that point.
Right.
And she came back to me within 15 minutes. She's like, how do you feel about Progressive as opposed to Safeco? I'm like, I don't care who it is at this point. Like, I just don't want to pay $600 a month on car insurance. And so she got it down to a very normal, reasonable. But if I had called and talked to the new AI assistant, I'm not quite sure I would have had the same experience that I got talking to the fabulous Amy. Right.
I think that's the hesitancy, right?
Right. And I came back after lunch, and sitting on my desk were my insurance cards and my forms, and it had this cute little puppy dog clip on it, and it made me happy. Right.
Piece of chocolate.
Yeah. I mean, it was fantastic Neiman Marcus service. I don't understand why, as independent insurance agencies, we're so quick to want to be the Dollar General when we make a living from being Neiman Marcus.
I think a lot of it's hype. Like shiny object. We've talked about that. AI is the shiny object of shiny objects right now. And it's the fear of being left behind. It's the fear of losing business. We've got to do this. And here's what's really interesting. This is something that I started noticing about 20 years ago. I spent the first 10 years, y'all can do the math, how long I've been in the industry there, but I spent the first 10 years doing just what you're talking about. Like, got to chase this, if AI would have come along in the early 2000s, I would probably been chasing it. And one of the things that I noticed, had sort of an aha moment, was none of the really, really successful independent agencies that I kept meeting at conferences and I kept running into on carrier trips, none of those guys were like losing sleep and getting all worried about the shiny object of that day. Like, it was, we're paying attention. Yeah, we're not sure how that's going to work for us yet. We're looking at it. We'll see. We'll see if it's bleeding edge technology or if it's leading edge technology. Like, which is it? they were just calm. Like they weren't panicking. And I that is a place that I would want to encourage agents to be through the AI boom. Is are we in a boom? Is there going to be a bust? That's still the question that the Wall Street Journal keeps asking. People keep talking about. The stock market keeps questioning, like, are we in an AI boom? In some version of AI is gonna continue to grow and be there.
Well, yeah, I think maybe it's important to kind of define what AI is real quick. Like AI, maybe in some people's minds, is just the chatbot that can communicate at a little bit higher level.
Right.
But that's not all it can be.
Right.
And that is the part that I think we need to be a little bit skeptical of in terms of how we can use it in an agency. But in terms of other things that it can do, there's certainly benefit. If you have some sort of a program that can compare two policies and see what the differences are, it's just as an example. Well, that's a useful tool.
Sure.
That's something you can use. And that's not something that's being presented to the customer, to the end customer. So there's definitely validity in some of the pieces already.
Sure.
Well, the cute boy and I spend between 20 and 30 minutes a day, probably 4 days a week, discussing AI in ways that we have figured out how to use it in lives and in business and at all sorts of levels. And it's fantastic. And it has made life more efficient, made life easier. It has improved our home life. There are really wonderful ways to use it. I just don't love it being customer facing.
Right.
Yep.
And this JD Powers and Associates survey shows that, like, customers don't trust it. They don't love it. They don't think it's safe. They want to know if it's a scam. They want to know who they're actually talking with. And
It's going to make more money for the man.
right. And the FBI yesterday came out, and there was this huge bank impersonation scam that they have been chasing. And it's an AI powered deep voice scam where criminals are impersonating banks. And people have lost like over $260 million while they've started chasing this specific scam. And the problem is consumers are already hesitant to trust. And every time there's a new AI scam, it just adds fuel to that skepticism.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, Robbie said a word.
You do.
Oh, no.
That was totally unprovoked.
It was.
You're just sitting over there minding your own business,
Right.
And she just decides to poke at you like that. That was totally.
I mean, no one was keeping record, but it was like my 10th word.
It was. It was at least 10. I think back a little bit generational. Gen Z, I have Gen Z daughters. They have Gen Z friends. And we had this conversation just in the last week or two around how many things that we think are legit that my daughter within 2 seconds says, that's not real. That's AI. Hey, Dad, that's AI. I'm like, what? I mean, it looks real.
Yeah.
I mean,
You check to see if they have 6 fingers.
hey, I know. I mean, I know it's a grizzly bear drinking coffee at Starbucks, but it looks very real, right? And he looks like he's enjoying himself. And so, but in all seriousness, there's some stuff talking about the scams. Like it is real. Like the fish, all the way down to the simplest things of phishing emails. Stuff looks real.
Yeah.
What people are capable of doing with AI, having a little bit of a Terminator Sarah Connor moment here, but it's like, where do we go? Like, maybe it's not machines taking over the world, maybe, but it does feel like we're in the insurance industry, so we're naturally going to be risk manager minded. And so it feels like there is this huge growing risk of just scams in cyber. Oh gosh, we could just go down the whole cyber threat, on this stuff of if there's good stuff being created, we have to always know there's also going to be bad stuff created.
I think from your sports analogy, AI is like your training partner, but you still have to play the game. If you think about it from that perspective, like
Yes, I think it's a complementary piece.
your strength and conditioning coach.
It's a tool for us to do things more efficient, which is wonderful. I mean, we go back 40, 50 years and agents were making 20 to 25% commission. Today, that has shrunk down to, in the independent agency space, there's very few carriers still paying in that 15% round. Most is going to be anywhere from 10, 12, 14 at best. So as we have a shrinking rate of commission, we have to understand that we are going to have to do things more efficient. We're going to have to do things better. AI is a great tool that complements our ability to do that and to be able to do more business and still serve our customers. I just stop short of that customer interaction. I'm not there. And look, we've had the privilege of seeing some and knowing some AI developers and seeing some things, and it's impressive. Like
Pretty sophisticated.
it's very sophisticated. I'm not dogging AI. I'm just saying there's a place where if the customer base, if society is saying, I don't trust you, should we force it? I mean, didn't we learn a little bit of a lesson with electric vehicle and the whole mandate and everything that's going on there? And we're going to force fossil fuels off the planet. When you start doing that instead of letting the market take care of it, it's going to backfire. So I think there's that element too. And that's the place where you have to decide as an independent agency owner is, where do you want to go? Do you want to go the dominant AI route, or do you want to be the contrarian kind of running against the grain going, well, I don't think my customer base is ready for that. I think I'm going to keep this thing in the background, and I think I'm going to keep my people more efficient. I'm going to keep investing in my people.
Is there a warning that you would give to agency owners, depending on what stage of their agency they're in, like startups perhaps, of not adding customer-facing AI tools too soon? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think yes. It's going to be tempting, especially if you're a solopreneur. Can I answer more calls if I have an AI tool, an AI agent, and your phone-based agent? It's going to be tempting, especially if you're a solopreneur. I mean, it really is. So I think that's just one of those things where you are going to have to truly understand, are you in a small town or are you in a metro area?
Got to build those relationships.
Got to build those relationships. Right. It still hasn't proven that our industry is going to be successful without relationships. That has not been proven yet. Like you can, to the agents that are like, I don't want to talk to a human being. There's not enough tenure on that agency model to know if it's actually going to hold up.
Well, we've seen it from direct to consumer, going online, buying.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw those carriers approach the independent channel and say, hey, we want to be in your agency, because they know the power of human interaction, in person, whatever.
Now, learning how to write your own GPTs, if you're at that point in your AI journey, that's a really cool thing to do. And going in and creating and writing your own GPT and putting your knowledge in it and constantly putting your knowledge in it. And it basically creates a second you. And if you're able to do that, allowing it to answer some emails, to answer some questions, making sure you go in and check them and it's right, there are some ways that you can create efficiencies like that beyond using it as the next Google. There are some really great things that you can do, but transparency is everything. And I would just never allow a GPT that I've written to send things out on my behalf without me looking at it first.
Yeah, it's relationship and retention too, though. I mean, I'm going to tell you for sure that any customer you have that you never spoke to and created a bond with, you're going to lose that customer at some point.
That price.
At price.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like Robbie's question about, what would you warn a new agent about, or what would you say? I mean, it's coming back to that a little bit. I'm not sure that the customer is ready, and I know the market will determine that, like the market would. And so I do think it's interesting to pay attention to the long-term successful agents. Like, don't discount the oldness, right? Like that, you hear that and make fun. Well, they're just traditional and old. Like, there's something to paying attention to successful organizations. I'm not opposed to that. Like, I'm not so arrogant. Hopefully I'm not so arrogant and confident or overconfident where I'm not paying attention to what some successful business is doing, right? Insurance agency or other businesses. My really interesting example is, my siblings and we've gotten into kind of restarted cattle business in our family that goes way back. Like my grandfather and my dad and the uncles, and they all were in the cattle business, and we've restarted that as an investment venture, right? And making use of land that's in the family, and it just makes sense. And we've been having conversations about that. And one of the local loggers, we're in a big forest area, we've got a lot logging industry. What's really interesting is one of the most successful loggers in all of East Texas, who owns quite a bit of property, has taken his timberland that he owns, not that he's cutting somebody else's land, but his own land that was heavy timber. And it is now has been converted to pasture, and he has cattle, right? What does that mean? Like, he's a really smart, number one, he's a smart rancher, but he's a even smarter businessman, and his primary business is timber. And he's converted this to pasture, put cows on what was timberland, right? And the reality of it is that he's been able to take something that was taking 30, 40 years to generate revenue off the land, and now it's generating revenue annually, right? So he made this investment and he did this. I think about that question, and when I think about these agencies, these traditional agencies, when I think about, like, what are some of the best practices agencies doing? What are the Reagan best practices agencies doing? Don't stick your head in the sand, and what I continue to have conversations about are very similar to what I was talking about earlier 20 years ago. They're paying attention. They're testing. They're looking at it. They're seeing where it fits with their people. What they're not doing is they're not necessarily just changing everything they've done forever, right?
Well, it gets back to something we talked about in our first podcast, which is overcorrection.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot swing all the way from one side to the other all at one time and expect that to work.
Thinking about going back to your story about the lab. So I love the lab online stuff that I can go online. I can make my appointment. It sends me a text. When I get to the lab, it sends, I tell it I'm there. I sit in my car, and when it's my turn, I get a text that tells me to go inside, right? Mm-hmm. Like you, if I'm in there, I'm helping the people because nobody has a clue.
You don't want to go in there and meet new people?
No, because there's germs in there.
Okay.
That's where the sick people are. So I can sit in my car, right? Same thing at the post office. Like, if I go to the post office and I use the machine, I'm going to be there for 30 minutes showing everybody behind me how to use it. I mean, I get it. So I love the automation at the lab. I do. but the majority of their customers, like you said, they don't like it. And we have so many different surveys and so much information that are saying people don't like this. Customers don't like it. They're afraid of it. And it seems like there's no middle ground, right? People either love it and they want everything to be that way, or they don't. I don't want to have anything to do with that AI stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we don't, and I'm like, your whole world has AI. Like, you just don't know it. And maybe if they had called it something else, because it's not artificial intelligence, it's algorithms. It's giving you back what you're feeding it or what somebody else is
That's a great
feeding it.
point.
And I remember Holly, our vice president, goddess of everything, right? And Holly was like, I just don't understand where this stuff comes from. I can't trust it because I don't know where is it coming from.
Yeah. And I have noticed some of the, hey, this is AI, please, no, this could be, so I've seen there's a lot of, I guess, disclosures and disclaimers starting to happen. We've seen the tragedies that have happened with AI and some teenagers and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
but there's also, it's back to like, what does my customer want? And as small businesses, we don't have quality assurance departments, right? We don't have what we have. Salespeople, where businesses, insurance agencies are businesses run by salespeople. This is a podcast we had, a topic on a podcast. Why do salespeople get sold so easily? And that's kind of like your agency there in Pensacola, the sign, like somebody, the owner, got sold on AI is going to save your world, right? And now we're going to use it, by gosh, because we spent tens of thousands of dollars on this. Staying in the healthcare industry, love my doctor. It's great. But one of the things that drives me crazy about all what seems to be private physician practices is fill out. Here's the new app. They got a new app, right? And I need you to fill out your medical stuff,
Yeah.
right? We don't have to, this is great. I don't have to fill out the forms. I fill it out. I do it. I go through. I get it right. I check in. I walk in for my appointment. I checked in a week ago and I filled out all my health forms. I walk in for my appointment and I walk up to the receptionist, not the kiosk. I give them that. It's not an iPad or a kiosk. There's a person sitting there and I walk up and they're like, how can I help you? I'm like, I got an appointment at 2:00. Okay. Let me get you checked in. And I was like, I did it on the app. And she goes, oh, great. I still need to do a few things though. Just stay here with me. And I'm like, okay, there's like little like Xbox, like, no, wait a minute. I checked in, by gosh, electronically. And the next thing is I need to get some copies of some stuff. Well, but our system changed. It's a different app. Oh, okay. So now we're refreshing everything. I did take a picture, by the way, and uploaded my card, insurance card, and my driver's license and my blood test results and whatever, everything else. I took a picture of, everything.
It wasn't good enough, Shane.
Wasn't good enough. And that's what it made me feel like. That's great. It's like I wasted all that time. And then the last thing was she handed me a clipboard with like 4 or 5 more pages.
Yes. That's what the part that gets me. And it just filled all this out.
So I think when we think about this, when we think about our business, my warning, full circle back to Robbie's question, customer experience has to win out over everything. Like, you got to start with customer experience and you got to be honest with yourself. Like, put yourself in that customer's shoes. Is this good? Test it. Like, I can't tell you how many times agents buy something, implement it, don't test it. Don't even know how it really works for the customer.
They like have Mike around.
I guess not. They don't have a Mikey. I don't know. So I call our service center line. We've got a service center about to come. I call it a couple of times a week just to see how did it feel. I'm not I'm not checking on my people. I'm not like not trusting. I want to know, is the customer going to feel what I want them to feel? Are they going to have a great experience? I think that's the problem a little bit too with AI right now, is everybody's rushing into it so fast, so hard. They don't even know how it's actually working. And then they end up delivering a bad customer experience.
So you had alluded to the experience I had with the AI online with a
Go ahead and say
with
it.
a cruise line.
Royal Caribbean.
Which is
It's
fine.
okay.
But real
It's
quick,
okay.
before I get to that, everybody's giving their blood work story. So I feel like I should partake. So this was a long time ago. I had just turned 21. So I was going to get some blood work for insurance or something. First time I'd ever done it. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I go make my appointment. This is 20 years ago, right? So I probably called, made an appointment. Oh yeah, we can do it tomorrow. Perfect. Just get it over with. Come in at 1:00. Fine. Now, what I don't realize at the time, being 21 years old, is if you don't eat from the time you go to bed to 1:00 in the afternoon for your blood work,
Yeah.
things could get a little
We're
squirrely.
going to get a little
Absolutely.
shaky here.
So I get in there, I'm like, yep, roll up the sleeve, ready to go. Boom. All right. So she starts taking the blood. How you feeling? I'm feeling fine. Why? Just checking. Maybe 5-10 seconds more. You still all right?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Your pastiness is getting.
And I was starting. Next thing I know, she's yelling for someone else. I wake up with a juice box next to me and say, hey, you need to start drinking this. Yep.
Yeah.
He done.
Even-
So I come, and at this point, you might as well just own it. So I just come out of there. I got the juice box and a lollipop in the other hand, and I just walk back into the waiting room, sat down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But for Royal Caribbean, I liked how they had it set up. So it was corner of the screen. This is a bot. They tell you that right up front. If this is a question regarding making a payment, if it's a reservation question, just type it in, continue. If it's not one of those things, it'll send you to a real person. I thought that was a good way to handle it.
It was full disclosure.
That's right.
It was full disclosure. Hey, if you're comfortable, use this.
You have an out.
Yeah. And I love that. Like, that's why I wanted you to talk about that, because, if you're not sure where your customer base is and you're not really sure how to figure it out, well, then use it both ways, right? Give them that out. Let your customers opt out in the moment. But also there's some other customers that are like Tanya, like they don't want to see any people. They won't talk to anybody. They want to sit in their car and wait. And, so let them, if you have the tool and you can let that person do that, well, then everybody's winning.
But why would we ever get out of that? That's the question. Like, it should always be that way. You should always have that option. Like, this is a service industry. You've got to provide service the way that people would like to be served.
And be transparent about it. That's the thing about, like, the insurance world already has that Groundhog Day. What's the guy's name on Groundhog Day? Ned
Ryerson.
Yeah.
Ned Ryerson.
So Ned Ryersons of the world. That's what people think about us as independent agents. They just do. And trust is only earned through transparency and relationship building.
Yeah.
And when you throw this out there, you get rid of all of that. This is a relationship business. And they're not going to have that same kind of relationship with Becky, the AI assistant, that they're going to have with Robbie Jabor.
Yeah. And, just an interaction that I had this week, for y'all that don't know, I kind of moonlight life insurance for the agency here. And that elderly lady that had to make some changes on a policy. And, thinking about this whole conversation and if she would have had to go through the AI functions to try to make some changes, she would have given up and she would have just not completed it, and that's, you can't discount that.
Yeah. No. And I think that's back to, maybe there are agents that are like, well, you know what? I don't care. I want You know, I don't want their business
Yeah.
anyway, right? Maybe there is that reality with some agents. I think the agents that I tend to, I guess, meet it through most of my interactions, the overwhelming majority their hearts are too big for that, right? Like they're not going to let the elderly lady, you know,
Sure.
have to use the AI
Right.
chatbot. And so that's just the nature of the servant industry, right? We're just service minded. We're generally servant leadership minded as an industry. So I think there's a reason for never letting that go today that I can see into the future. Like, I don't really understand the world where, as an independent agency, we're going to look like a direct writer somehow.
Yeah.
Like we're going to lose
Right.
all connection. Like that feels like we spun, you know, we went too far on the pendulum, right? We just went way too far.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
is
Go ahead.
there a concern of the next generation?
He's talking.
That's
Letting
why I shut
talk.
up. That's why I shut up. Very quickly.
Thank you. Is there a concern for the next generation in being service minded, like we grew up
Yeah.
doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Mike and I went and had dinner last night, and we had a really, really good server at Texas Roadhouse, and they're not a dime a dozen anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you go out to eat, sometimes you
Pay
don't.
attention. I want to hire
Exactly.
them.
Yeah,
I want
that's what I'm like,
to.
did you leave them a card?
Yeah, when I find a really good server, like I'm seriously like, okay, do we have any needs? Like,
Yeah.
can I hire them? You know,
Yeah. But I feel like now, or the generation coming up, is there's fewer of them that are willing to give that level of service. That may be more willing to adopt AI because they don't want to interact as much. You know what I'm saying?
I think we have to be careful about, you know, kind of making these, and this goes for every generation. This goes for Xers, for Boomers, Millennials, Gen Z specifically, because I have some insight into Gen Z with my daughters and their friends, and just I've intentionally had conversations about some of this. I think we have to really be careful about broad stroking
Yes.
the
The
generation.
generation. Yeah.
And I think we hear a lot about laziness or don't care or whatever. But there's a lot that do. Like, stuff's important. Like they're not trusting of AI
Okay.
because they see so much fakeness,
I see. Okay.
right? And so if they get authentic service, if they are getting, you know, a really good experience,
Yeah.
I think they're gonna be willing to pay a premium for that because they've seen my daughters think everything's a scam. Like, legit email, Dad, is this a scam? Like, legit text from the doctor's office. Hey, this looks like a scam. Is this a scam? Like, everything, they will stop and check because the world is out to scam them. That's how distrusting they are because of AI, because of the dark web and the things that, you know,
The Match.com.
the Match.com, like, just they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about that that's going to reveal itself, and why we shouldn't be so quick to eliminate the human touch, right? The human interaction.
Right.
I think the other side of it, to your point, when you're looking at it from a business perspective, you know, if you're thinking about getting into insurance and you feel like you really would prefer not to talk to people, I think you have to have a real honest conversation with yourself about whether this is really a direction you should want to go in. Because at the end of the day, you do have to create those relationships.
You might be an actuary, or a product manager, maybe an underwriter. Like, you might not be a salesperson.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there's a role for you in the industry,
Just
but
not the front line.
probably
Yeah.
not going to be the sales side.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I think customers want to talk to people for the hard stuff.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yep.
That JD Power survey, it talked about that, 50% of people didn't want any AI involved with a claim.
Yes.
A claim is emotional. They really want to be able to talk to a person.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is how much the carriers are promoting the utilization and implementation of AI in their claims
In their
process. That is what's real. Like, are we even listening? Like, are we even paying attention?
Yeah.
Let's completely take the emotion out of it.
Right.
I don't know how you do that.
Which is very difficult to do in a claim,
situation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know how we do that.
Right.
Yeah. No, I hard stuff. I think that's right. I mean, there's things that, and I think the customer kind of dictates the interpretation of what is the hard stuff. There's things that probably are easy. I just think about myself as a consumer that there are probably things that are easy to do, but I don't know they're easy to do. So I'm just going to pick up the phone and call.
ID cards.
ID.
I mean, they're easy, right?
easy,
but some
right?
people call
But some
or
people
come by,
yeah.
need to pick them up.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
get it. It's easy. You
They don't know
go.
who their insurance is with.
That's true.
Just telling you,
That's true.
But that's what gives us an opportunity as independent agents to be so successful. And if you're out there and you're listening and you want to join a group and have access to carriers with a company that really believes in balance, because I mean, I love AI. I love what it can do for efficiency to help be successful. But I also love to talk to that person too and make sure they're taken care of. And I believe that's where we are with the Integra Partner Network is we have a great balance of those things working together to help our partners be successful.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of an illusion to what makes you more money. This assumption that AI is going to save the day and make me more money. Retention is what makes you more money, right? Retaining clients makes you more money. If you are running clients off because you're giving them an experience that they don't want or that they don't trust, well, that's one of my big concerns is tanking our retention because we did go too far, because we didn't kind of look at this and go, wait a minute, what does the customer want? Hey, that's cool. That's really cool that it gave me that information, that the tool gave me that information. It's really cool that it can do all these things, but does the customer care when it's all said and done? Because all that really matters is, does the customer care? Does the customer see value in what we're doing for them? And are they staying? Because if we retain them, now we're making money. We're not making money just by watching it churn and selling new, not worrying about keeping, it's just age old deal. If you want to grow, you got to retain. You can't just grow selling. You got to grow by serving and retaining.
I'm going to leave us today with this quote from Serena Williams. Technology can help you prepare, but it will never replace showing up.
Attitude's a choice. Make a great one.
At the Integra Partner Network, we understand that carrier access is the key to your agency's success. That's why Integra offers direct access to top-rated personal and commercial carriers, ensuring your agency thrives in today's challenging market. And with our comprehensive resources, profit sharing and bonus opportunities, technology and peer support, all while you retain 100% of your book with no penalties to exit. Integra is ready to empower you and your agency to find sustained growth. Find your way to Integra. Visit IntegraPartnerNetwork.com today. That's IntegraPartnerNetwork.com.